Business Today. I am Rona Kajumba, and joining me right now is Timothy Sibasi, my colleague here, who is our business analyst. And it is a Tuesday, but we had agreed that we'll be focusing on the budget as we move on. But also, this is one of the sectors, however. So while we are looking at education, the education sector, and this is partly because we are going to later on bring you Makerere University going on to its graduation ceremony, and it is the 68th graduation ceremony, looking at about 15,000 students who are graduating today, which is rather this week, which is quite quite a big number. However, we'll be also relating that to the 32 years of NRM, because on the 26th, I think we shall be celebrating NRM Day. Now, not to really confuse you much, but those things are going to be one way or another, you know, put into each other's space. You're very welcome.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes. How is your morning?
Well, not bad. Yeah.
I can see that. I can definitely see that, indeed. Now, real quickly, as we go into this discussion, without wasting people's time, the education sector in Uganda, over the years, let us look at education, the education system as we speak today.
Well, it has been a long way from 1986. We used to have very few schools, both tertiary institutions, higher institutions of primary schools, secondary schools, and so on and so forth. But as we talk now, from 1986 today, in the primary sector, Uganda has 1,421 primary schools. Secondary schools, they have 1,335 secondary schools. Nursery schools, they have 40 nursery schools confirmed by government. They have 250 BTVET, secondary, BTVET technical schools. We have 9 public universities. That in the case if Soroti University is approved to operate this year.
Yes.
We have 40 private universities. Now you can see.
Definitely.
From 1986, we used to have only one, Makerere University. Now you are talking of 9 public universities, those are government. Then you talk about 40 private university schools. We need to put credit where it deserves. I do believe it has been a long way.
See, the challenge we have though here is that people have a tendency. People love to scrutinize and you know, and see here and there, and then they're saying, well, the education system, how it used to work then, according to some people, was much better than it is now. In this case, I think they're looking at, for example, for primary level, O-level, higher institution learning, I think they're looking at the curriculum in this case. People are saying, today it is less involving. What do you think?
You know, 2 things are involved. You can look, what was the population then?
Then, indeed.
What was the population then? And what is the population today? What was the terms of payment then? And what are the terms of payment today? People may say that they used to earn less money that time, but what was the value of that money?
Indeed.
Then secondly, when you look at somebody making that comparative analysis, that students were performing well that time, today they're not performing well, I don't buy that idea. I don't buy that idea. I'm convinced beyond reasonable doubts that students are performing well. They're performing well. We cannot say that we are putting out half-baked students into the market. No. Because when you make a comparative analysis of Ugandan students compared to other countries, Uganda has we put out best students.
Some of the best,
Most of our children who go through the Ugandan education system, they are selling like hotcakes in countries like South Africa. Go in Nairobi here, Nairobi Hospital. Most of their expatriates, most of their experts, doctors are Ugandans.
Ugandans, yes.
Go to Seychelles, go to the UK, most of the nurses, majority of the nurses are Ugandans. These are people who have left here. Go to Rwanda here. Best, good doctors there are Ugandans. We have good doctors in Mulago here.
Yes, we do.
We have good student professors, lecturers, public servants. So I do not buy the idea that we are putting out half-baked. Why is it that many Kenyans prefer bringing their children to come and
study in Uganda?
Study in Uganda.
Not just Kenyans, Tanzanians, South Sudan.
So I do not buy that idea that we put out half-baked students.
Yes, indeed. Very interesting, though. You have mentioned the fact that where we've come from in terms to, in regards to number of schools and how many people went to school then and now. Let us look at the competitiveness. Do you feel that maybe the competitiveness that we see now is in any way helping us to improve in terms of skills, preparedness, information for our students out there? Because see, every year, you think about it, 9 public universities, about 40 private universities. I personally went to a private university, but someone else decided I want to go to a public university. Let us look at that competitiveness. Is it in any way helping us? Is it in any way pushing for our country to get what we want to see?
The competitiveness, you know, when you decided to privatize, to walk the privatization path, you open floodgates for competition.
Yes.
Whereby you will have good private schools, you will have good public schools. So it depends on the pocket of a parent. Where does he want to take her daughter, private or public?
Or public, yeah.
Yeah. So in terms of competitiveness, of course you do not expect a private school or a government school to perform that much better than a private school.
Yeah.
Somebody running a private school wants results. There's tight supervision in private schools.
Oh, yes.
Unlike in public schools. In terms of payment, again, you will see, much as government is trying to scale up the payment for teachers, more especially in primary schools, because I understand the least paid teachers nowadays earn 480,000 Uganda shillings, against what they used to earn 280 about 3, 4, 5 years back. So, but in the private sector, you'll find a teacher earning $1 million. So, in terms of competition, it's self-explanatory why private schools are performing better. But when you look at public schools that are also where parents pay good sums of money, like King's College, Budo, St. Mary's College, Chisubi, Ntare, schools like Nyakasura, schools like St. Leo's, schools like Chigezi College, Butobere, Busoga College, Mwiri. In terms of performance, no private schools dare them.
Indeed.
Even when you look in the papers and you see how these guys, they are junior primary schools, how they perform. Oh wow, you cannot
very
compare
true.
them with private
I was
schools.
looking through the papers the other day and seeing how the primary 7 students actually performed, and it was very, very interesting. I must say, still the public schools are still pushing forward to be seen, but also we're seeing the private schools are not sleeping in any way. They're not letting their students sleep. And that is what happens. You see, what is when I look at what some people I think are in regards to how the education system works, I think it's because now the private schools have a different way of doing it. You look at a very young child, yes, going through hours like a mature teenager, like between pre-primary and primary, the hours they give these children to study. I think that is what is bothering most people. It tends to be like school is their life.
Well, sometimes it also has side effects on the performance of the child.
Yes.
Staying a child in most cases, I don't know what government is doing about it, because some of us, when we grew up, we were performing better, but we never used to go to school at 5 in the morning.
Yes.
Because sometimes you buy, some of us who come from areas of Bukoto, Ntinda,
Yes.
bypass Chitante, you see parents dropping children at Chitante Primary School at around 6 in the morning. 5,
yes.
the child is shivering.
Yeah.
You say, what's that? But at the end of the day, also parents have their own reasons. Either they are needed at work at 7 sharp. So, but all said and done, early to bed, early to rise makes a man healthy, wealthy, and wise. So,
But see again, work without play, I tell you, is another, because that is why we see many of our children. You see, the number of students, or rather children, that go to primary schools is quite a lot. And then you see a 32% drop, you know, when it comes to O-level or A-level. You know, it keeps, every time you go to the next level, people are dropping out. Is it because of the intensity now that is put within the education sector?
I don't think so. Sometimes it's the resources, especially financial resources. Because most schools, government only provides free education up to secondary level. So you find most parents, after secondary level, they cannot afford university fees.
Indeed.
They cannot afford tertiary institution fees, more especially in the rural Uganda. So many students stop there. Now that government is trying to put technical schools in each and every sub-county, where I do believe it will be free education also there. I do believe that will help parents who cannot afford university fees to take their children into technical schools, because now that's the path. Hands-on education is what now Ugandans need, because it has been proven this theory that we get from universities, it has not created a big impact in the job market.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, it has not created a big impact in the job market. So now people are now moving in for hands-on kind of education, technical skills. I've heard the president talking about in his manifesto retooling, more especially graduates who have left universities, because the research that we have seen show that every year Uganda puts to the market 50,000 graduates, but most of them end up nowhere.
Yes.
Reason, because there are less jobs.
Yeah.
There are less jobs, and people running for them are too many. So they need to give them technical skills to do their own, to be job creators than being job seekers. I think that's what now government is trying to address.
Indeed, very true. Because then I was going to, actually, that's what I was going to point out and say, well, we have an issue of jobs here. There's no jobs for our youth. Now you can see, like this week, just Makerere University alone, about 15,000. You get what I'm saying? And then you find that it has a number of intakes. You find that some private universities have 3 intakes, and each of those 3 intakes is about how many students? 10,000. So you find that the job market is not there for us. However, what are some of those solutions? Some of the things, though, that we've always hinted out is probably looking in regards to ICT. Now, the other time we did see a launch by the ICT for the ICT Innovation Hub. However, is this going to take in a good number of our graduates
I
to
don't
help
think
them?
so. What I think is that the private sector, because the biggest industry employing Uganda is government.
Yes.
It's government. Now, why is it that the private sector is not employing as much as we expect? Is that we do not have factories.
Oh, yeah.
We need to have many factories which can absorb most of these students. How many factories do you talk about here in Kampala alone? You can count them.
Yeah.
So a lot need to be done in the private sector. People must be creative, come up with ideas. Research, government must invest so much in research, because research is the driving engine of any developing country. The moment you do not invest in research, then the country cannot move on. If you see how Lee Kuan Yew developed Singapore, he invested a lot in research. So if Uganda is to move forward, government must invest a lot in research, because we have a lot of untapped sectors, more especially in the areas to do with minerals. We have a lot of minerals in Uganda.
Yes.
So research must be invested in. Let us explore those areas, and that is the only way to absorb the unemployed youth into the job market.
Indeed. So what could it be that we're doing wrong when it comes to the education sector? Because when you look at from primary levels, the curriculum, to O-level, HSC, and all of that, you find that there is a trend. And now, over time, things have been changed. There's certain things they've made compulsory, hoping that maybe the students would adopt to them, which could help them in the future. Now, what could it be that maybe, what are those gaps you probably see in the education sector?
The education that we see, gaps are there. And it's not going to be a one-day job to fix those gaps. It's going to be a long journey. Look at the kind of students that are going to come out of Makerere University either today, tomorrow, and the other day. What courses have they done? What kind of courses are they doing? You find many of them are SWASA, Social Works and Public Administration. Others will be doing admin, public admin. Others are going to be doing business. Others are going to come out graduating in peace and conflict resolution areas. So
Art and technology.
Art and technology.
Yes.
So where are they going? Be it even lawyers. How many law firms do you have here? Even though if you have to divide the ratio of lawyers in Uganda to companies here, you still have very few lawyers. I was reading a research in Nigeria. Nigerian lawyers are equivalent to the total population of Nigeria. Each family, if you are to do the ratios, each family has a lawyer. In Uganda here, we still have very few lawyers and very few law firms. Even the competence of some of our students to understand certain things, many of them, it's like in journalism.
Some people
it's like
do
in journalism.
yes.
After doing a mass comm, they do not want to practice.
Practice, yes.
They fear practicing. It's the same thing in law. Many guys after their first bachelor's degree, they fear to go to LODC.
Well, many of them, I think many of them go do these courses because they feel that these are heavy courses, or their parents want them to do these courses. They don't do things
career guidance
that they want.
People who offer the career guidance are the ones to blame.
Is it still done the same way though?
It's supposed to be done in schools. If they are not doing it, teachers, then there's a problem there. You need to know where your strengths lie. As a teacher, you need to know the strength of your students, where they lie. You need to tell that this child cannot manage sciences. This child can manage mathematics. This child can manage history. But you find somebody would want to do law, yet would have performed better if he went and studied education.
Very true.
So the problem that we're having with many guys on the street who call themselves lawyers and they cannot practice.
And they cannot practice.
Many journalists, they did it, but they end up running into public relations, which sometimes we call sleeping dog journalism.
Oh yeah, very true. Very true. And that one, for me, I feel like it's not no offense to the public relations people out there.
They feel right.
Like, yes, you need to be active first of all, and do the PR in your days in your final. Yeah, you need to be a little bit aggressive. Then about 50, you go and say, let me be a PR.
And others prefer armchair journalism, sitting on the desk and phone calls. Well, go to the field and you see what goes on there.
Very true, indeed. Now, speaking of the people graduating today, it's the 68th graduation ceremony. And of course, today, which is the 16th, we are looking at those from College of Agricultural and Environmental Sciences. College of Education and External Studies, and then College of Natural Sciences. Now, tomorrow is College of Business and Management Sciences, College of Computing and Information Sciences, College of Veterinary Medicine, Animal Resources and Biosecurity. Then on Thursday will be Makerere University Business School. And then Friday will be College of Engineering, Design, Art and Technology, College of Humanities and Social Sciences, that is something you pointed out earlier on, and then School of Law. Very interesting at what we're seeing here, the courses.
The courses, I'm seeing a lot of science courses. We're going to have many scientists, agriculturalists being downloaded into the market, which is okay, but where are they going?
Exactly.
Do we have where they're going to be absorbed? Mostly veterinary doctors. We need a lot to invest into the area of veterinary as a country. Many cows, many goats, many poultry farming and so on and so forth.
People don't have the culture.
People do not have veterinaries, and sometimes they cannot afford. So I think government need to do a lot in that sector, because it seems it's going to be another sector that is going to employ many of our scientists who come out of university, more especially veterinary medicine. Then also there's need of motivation. You have been seeing strikes going on in hospitals about salaries and so on. You have been seeing most of our doctors here are running out of the country to look for greener pastures out of the country. So a lot need to be done in looking into salary remunerations of doctors in Uganda, creating a favorable working condition for them. That will help to absorb many of our students who come out of Makerere and other universities like MUST in Mbara, who have done medicine. So likewise, engineers, even engineers, we are losing many of our engineers to South Sudan, Somalia, Kenya, Rwanda, and so on, and other countries. So we need to do a lot in that area to see how do we retain these people home.
Indeed. Now, we are definitely looking at the education sector now. Time is definitely running out. But real quickly, a reminder is that Makerere, which is now Makerere University, was initially a humble technical school that we started about 1922. And over time, we saw the changes. And then eventually in the 70s, became an independent university of the Republic of Uganda, of course, under the government of the Republic of Uganda. Now, one thing that used to happen is we had, do you remember what we used to call government sponsorship? And then apart from getting your tuition paid for, then there would always be some pocket monies or monies to use. Now, this is something that had somewhat been, a few years back, there was some sort of hold back on that. But again, I think we see it going to come back around this year, and also the nursing students and medical students as well.
Well, it was a good idea then. Even now, how I wish that it goes on and on and on and on.
Yes.
But because of financial indiscipline, both at the university and within government, accounts for that money not forthcoming to students.
Indeed.
So if we can, as people, if we can work on the financial indiscipline within Makerere University, the other day I saw the president instituted a commission of inquiry into financial expenditures in Makerere University. A report, I think, was done and that has been handed over to him. We don't know what's going to be the outcomes of it, but speaks volume on how funds are being mismanaged in Makerere University. Also, within government, there's a lot of financial indiscipline. So if we can find a way of addressing that problem, I do believe government cannot fail to offer scholarships to students who want to go to Makerere University, give them those splendors to sustain them throughout the semester, those who have performed well.
Okay, well, Timothy, our time has run out, but of course we've been looking at the education sector, focusing on the fact that we have a number of universities now, and later on we shall be bringing you that feed from Makerere University. Look at about 15,000 students who are graduating. Quite interesting. Now, every other year seems to have a bigger number in all universities, I must say. But we do appreciate you for watching Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. I am Rowena Kajumba with our business analyst here, Timothy Sibasi, who does come here on Tuesdays and Thursdays to discuss a couple of issues of this sort. We wish you a good day.